Welcome to another episode of Live With It. This is the show where the DTNS family of folks lives with a gadget, a service, a platform over a long enough period of time that we get a solid, honest feel about it, and we talk about it amongst ourselves and also with you. Hello, everyone. I am Sarah Lane. Let's talk about the good, the bad, the ugly with Roger Chang today. Now, Roger, I know that you're always on the show, but you're often behind the scenes. Yes. But today, you've got a couple of products to share with us. So what have you been living with?
Yeah, so typically I'm the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. But today, I'm the Wizard of Awe. And I say awe in that, oh, what a great deal that every motorist should have if you own a car or just use one regularly like it's a family car. There are two things I recommend people have besides a tire gauge. One is a OBDII scanner, and this essentially is a interface into the computer that runs your car. Very important, especially if you run into issues. The second item is it's a tire inflator. This little thing will inflate your tire. And just to show you how small it is, this is my Pixel 6a for comparison. So this is the relative size. So if you can imagine a 12-ounce can of soda, it's about two of those sized cans is the size of this particular device.
Because when I think about inflating my tires, it's like I go to a gas station, I need a couple quarters, I kind of just sort of hope that I'm doing the right thing with the right tire for the right amount of time. I'm always afraid of like overinflating them. So how does that work?
So let me go through these real quick. Yeah. This particular tire inflator is the AstroAI portable air compressor. It features an LED flashlight. So if you're stuck on the side of the road and it's like, oh, I can't find where my little tire valve is because it's too dark. It comes with a little light in it, and it has inflates up to 100 psi. Most standard passenger cars need around 29 to 32, so you're fine on that. And it comes with this handy dandy, I know I'm an old person because I'm going to say cigarette lighter port, but today we call it the auxiliary power port on a car.
The Siggy port, I know it.
But this is what you plug it into. And if you ever want to do anything like, hey, I need to inflate this beach ball because I'm at the beach, it comes with a handy dandy number of little adapters that allow you to connect a variety of different valve types to the compressor to inflate it. And because this company is so cool, they also include a single fuse. So if the fuse in it blows, you have a spare, and these are actually relatively easy to find, but you can see all the different tips that you have for bicycle tires, automotive tires. In my case, I've inflated the hand truck tires on my hand truck because for some reason it is 30 years old and it constantly loses pressure, and I have no desire to find new tires for it. The second device I have, of course, is the OBDII scanner. This is the ANCEL AD410. This reads codes, engine error codes, erases them, but also gives you an onboard emissions monitoring readiness test. In other words, it will let you know if your car is ready to go in and get smogged by throwing up any kind of codes. It will, or if no codes show up, it says you're all clear. It also does vehicle information as well as live data. So you can drive around. You can have live data of whatever's happening under your hood to your engine, spark plug amount, fuel flow, what's happening per cylinder, all that information.
I would assume this is what a standard auto body shop would just have on hand, right?
Yeah, yes, they have very similar devices that cost 12 to 13 times as much, and they look like iPads. They look like tablets, and because they're so much more featured, and they include a bunch of very manufacturing specific codes. And to get those codes, you actually have to pay a fee to like GM or Toyota or BMW.
That was going to be my next question is like, can you just buy, what you've got, off the shelf and it would work with any car? Probably not, right?
Well, so this right now, this is a generic OBD2 scanner, and this thing set me back all of $30 on Amazon. This will work with any car manufactured after 1996. I would say if you have a car that was that you bought in the 21st century, it's going to work with this. And the thing to understand is OBD2 is a specific set of not certification standards. So anything that deals with your engine, this can read. However, if you need something like your ABS, your anti-lock braking system, or you have issues with your traction control system, you need to step up and pay like another $30 to get an expanded one that has an expanded set of software tools that can read those particular parameters on your automobile. The basic one will let you know what's happening directly with your engine. Everything else, like transmission, your brakes, you can read as well, but you would need to buy a more expensive scanner. I typically recommend just a cheaper one because if you aren't very mechanically inclined or you're just very mystified automotively, this is good.
That's definitely me.
This will give you a rough estimate of what's happening and why you're having issues with your automobile.
And this plugs into the cigarette lighter as well.
So this is why I like this one, because the OBD2 port on your car, typically under the dash, behind the steering wheel or underneath the steering wheel, it is powered through that port. So you just plug it in and the display lights up and it's ready to go.
I didn't even know there was a port behind my steering wheel.
It's right where your legs would go, right above the pedals, and you'll see it kind of looks like an old style. Let me see if I can get a closer look of this. It has a printer style port.
Yeah, it really does.
And this is what this pinout plugs into.
Okay.
And all automobiles, at least that are sold in North America, have one of these since 1996. There was an older standard called OBDI, but that has since been supplanted by OBD2. OBD standing for onboard diagnostic. And this was a way for mechanics to access basically the ECM, the electronic control module that literally runs everyone's engines today. It manages spark timing, it manages throttle body, the amount of fuel that goes into your engine, all those parameters, especially if it's something like that's variable valve timing. You have an ECM and it needs to be read, because if you ever want to get your car smugged, it has to read clear. If you have an engine error or one of those check engine lights that light up on your dash, that means you have an issue, and this is where this OBD2 scanner comes in.
Now, I would assume, and I raised my hand when you said maybe you're not super, automobile inclined. I am not at all. In fact, cars are a mystery to me. I don't even know how they work. But if I were to get one of these scanners, is some, a manufacturer like I have a Volvo or GM or Ford or, Toyota, whatever, do they have an issue with kind of these third market devices?
They don't, because they have a superset. In other words, those manufacturers have a set of diagnostic codes that sit atop OBD2. And to read those, you need a more expensive. Typically, you're looking at $700 to $800 for these scanners.
That's a big difference.
And then if you want to read those manufacturer codes, you have to pay GM or Ford like another $120 to unlock those codes so you can read them, which is why typically you only find those in automotive shops, because the people who would have them in their home and would spend that kind of money are typically car enthusiasts or hobbyists who A, know what they're doing, but B, are willing to spend $2,000 to $3,000 worth of amount of dollars on equipment in order to work on their car, because for them it's a pastime and not like, oh, something's wrong with my car, I got to fix it.
Right. Going back to the AstroAI portable air compressor, because this is actually something I definitely need. I've been getting this sort of like low tire pressure situation that my car tells me, but it's not telling me which tire it is. And every time I look at them, I'm like, I don't know. They all look like they have air in them.
Yeah.
This is something that, it can be very confuddling and kind of scary, right? Because if the tire really does go out and, you get in a jam, no bueno. So as you mentioned, I assume you would need to turn the car on, then you get the power, plug it into the center dash, and then, is the cord long enough to get to all the tires?
Yes. So it comes with a very, very, very long cord. I've
designed for all four. Yeah.
I've done this on a 4Runner, so a 2014 4Runner, and I can reach all the tires with this plugged in. The one thing I will mention is, depending on which side of the car, you're going to have to route it through that side window. So if you're on the passenger side, you're going to have to run it through that way. Yeah. You don't need to have the car running. You just need to have the key up to the accessory mode on your dash, so your car stereo is working. Yeah. Your thing is working. The great thing is, if you're one of those people, is I don't know how much pressure I have in this tire, and I don't have a tire gauge. This has a built-in tire pressure gauge. But if you just how do I measure it? How do I tell it to stop? You don't have to. You just set the amount of pressure you need in that tire. You punch in the number, you dial it in.
What if you don't know the number?
So this is great. Every car is required to tell you what it is, and it's found on the driver's side door jamb. There's a white sticker. When you open the door, you see a white sticker on the door jamb, and it will tell you the amount of pressure. That's typically 29 to 30 pounds in that tire. And it doesn't matter. Yeah. As long as you're getting.
Why don't people talk about this more often? My God.
It's actually in the owner's manual. But if you aren't going with aftermarket rims and a tire combination, because say you wanted to really trick out your car, and you're just replacing the tire that came with your car, that number is relevant. So if it says 29 on the door jamb, you need to put 29 pounds of pressure in.
And then you're just psh, and then it's done.
You put it in, you punch in the number, you take the end hose, this portion right here, and what you do is you just basically put this over the valve, you tighten it by clipping this down, and then you turn this on, and it will run until it reaches that number that you've preset, and then it stops. Wow. And so you don't have to worry about did I overinflate it? Did I underinflate it? This will tell you, and it will stop when it's filled. And then you just pop this off, and you're done. And you go to the other 3 tires if you're worried about them as well.
That feels like magic to me. I had this situation some years ago before I moved to the apartment that I lived in. I was living in Northern California. Now I live in Southern California. Quite a long drive between the two. And, I had movers, and I was moving, with my pets in my own car. And one of the guys, very nicely said to me, he's like, "You're going to drive to LA today with that tire?" And I was like, "What's wrong with it?" And he's like, "You can't drive to LA. You can't drive on the freeway with that tire. You need to do something about it. It's low. You're going to blow it, and then you're going to be, in a world of hurt somewhere on the I-5. And I was like, okay. So I went to a gas station, and I just put some air in it. But I didn't know what I was doing. And I was worried the whole time. Yeah, am I going to pop the tire? So this feels like the perfect solution for anybody, who gets either in a jam, like I kind of was at the time because time was of the essence, or just wanting to make sure that everything is tip top.
Yeah, and this is the great thing. These were designed for people who it's like an emergency kit. It's right there with your road flares, your tire iron, and all
earthquake
that stuff.
Kit, all the things.
And it's one of those things I recommend everyone have. I have AAA insurance, so if you have an auto club that you rely on or it's part of your insurance, it's great that you have it, but having used it before, it's 35 minutes to an hour till someone shows up.
Yeah.
This will be done in less than 15, and you can have peace of mind that it's done. And if it flattens again, you still have it with you, right? You don't have to stop somewhere else and then call for another
and not just peace of mind, but just the feeling of I can deal with some of the stuff on my own. Yes, it's always nice to have. I have AAA insurance as well. Roadside assistance has gotten me out of a jam more than twice. But something that is a cheap solution for a relatively minor problem that I can deal with myself. I think a lot of people would do more of that if they knew that these products existed.
And I think one of the reasons why I actually have like 3 variations of this. I have a heavier duty one that actually clamps directly onto your car battery to inflate your tires. And it's heavier duty because the motor's bigger, so it inflates tires faster. And that's the thing to understand with a small unit. It's not that it won't inflate your tire, it'll just take a little bit longer. If you have a bigger unit with a bigger motor in it, it just basically inflates your tires quicker.
I mean, so what are we talking like? Are we talking like 5-minute difference, 30 seconds, 10 minutes?
I would say you're looking at maybe 7 to 8 minutes, depending on the size of your tire and how much air it needs in it.
I mean, unless it's an emergency situation, I feel like for most people, it's like, that's fine. It's just like, maintenance.
I did this
like mopping your floor.
I did this to top off my tire because my wife drove home one time and she said, like, this tire sounds funny. And I looked at it, it's like, it's flat. I don't know what happened. So I went in and inflated the tire. It took about 8 to 11 minutes, and it was around like 20 pounds. So I got it to 30. No, it wasn't 20. It was 15 pounds, and I doubled it within 8 minutes inflating. And all I had to do was just stand around and listen to it, whirl away. And the great thing is it's so small, you can put it in anything, right? You can put it in the backseat or more likely your trunk or whatever that you need. It's not cumbersome. I have an old unit from Sears that I bought about 15 years ago. It's the size of like a dictionary, right? So it is big and it's heavy. It's at least 10, it's not 10 pounds, it's about 7 pounds, right? It's really heavy, and it doesn't work as quickly as this because the motor in it is less efficient. These are high winding motors. This will eventually break. So this is not a long-term, like you can use it day in and day out, although I don't think you would be using it day in, day out.
Yeah, if you are, there's something wrong with your tires.
Exactly. And, the thing is, these are, right now, I should say, they're relatively inexpensive, that if you have someone and you're in the holiday gift buying mood, these are excellent stocking stuffers because both they're handy, but they're also like if you have a loved one, like say you're sending your kids off to college and they're driving, it's like, hey, mommy and daddy want to look out for you, giving you this and a few other things. So we know if you're stranded by this, you're not going to be stranded by the road when you're coming to visit us on the special holidays that we require you to come visit us from college.
I could definitely see if I was going off to college and my dad was like, look, I got you a portable air compressor. I'd be like, thanks a lot, Dad. I was looking for, new ski boots or something. However, when that time comes that you need it, you're going to be so thankful that you have it. So these are actually really, really great gift ideas.
Yeah, and the few things I do want to kind of explain, things that people should know. I mentioned that size is the big one. These sort of are disposable. Maybe you can get 20 uses out of it. Like it's plastic. It's not super heavy duty. Like you can't just throw it around. It's going to crack and break. But again, in a pinch, it's perfect. $30. This OBDII scanner, if you ever have a check engine light and you're always worried about taking it to the shop, because even if they were to check it for you, they would charge you like a $50 or $60 fee. This is all they do. They plug one of these into it and they say, okay, it's throwing these codes that you have a problem with your. And in one case, I had a valve train issue with my car, and it just lit up. And it's like, okay, so what do I do about it? At least you sort of have an idea, and then you know what to ask.
You're more informed.
You're more informed.
Well, and if you're getting upsold on stuff that maybe just is not, you don't have to worry about, you can say, thank you, but no thank you. I want to do, this, that, and the other thing instead.
Exactly. And, if you do want to have access to those car model specific codes, you are going to need to spend a lot more. Again, you're looking at $700-800 for those units, but those units are very capable. They do a lot of things. They allow you to adjust things like transmission shift points. They allow you to adjust, spark timing and a bunch of other things. A lot of things that you should not touch unless you're an ASE or similarly certified mechanic in touching, because you could really screw up your car. And they allow you to clone the really expensive ones allow you to clone key fobs. So you know how you have those ignitions that don't require the keyless fobs, where you just need to have the fob in the car and you press the button to start the car?
Yeah, my car has one of those.
You can clone those keys. You can take it and you can just clone it.
Which sounds so like that's a security problem, but, I don't know.
It is,
I guess
but,
car thieves are like, ha ha, that's how we steal cars these days. But
I mean, that is how
hopefully-
that's how they steal cars these days.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't happen to any of us. Well, listen, Roger Chang, this was an illustrious Live With It interview. You gave us a couple really good, not only gift guides, but just things to do with your own vehicle. Both of these things I absolutely need for mine, and together it's less than $100.
It's less than $100, and I do want to stress you don't need these specific models. There are a bunch of different manufacturers that sell very similar products at this very similar price points. So do shop around. I have 3 different, tire inflators because the manufacturers I bought them from no longer sell them because they're all white boxed. Basically, they put their name on someone else's product that comes out of a anonymous Chinese factory. They put Sarah Automotive, and they you put your face on it and then they sell it. So, again, but these are categories that I do recommend anyone with a car get, because you don't need it every day, but the time you need it says, man, I'm really glad I spent $30 or I'd have been stuck here for an hour.
Yeah, it's kind of your own personal car insurance.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, that is it for this edition of Live With It. If you have comments or suggestions for future Live With It episodes, we would love to know what you would like to have us live with. Send them on to feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. And remember, if you enjoy Live With It and all of our other shows that we do in the DTNS family, please remember to support us on Patreon. Tell a friend, family member, coworker. Word gets out and we all benefit. Check out patreon.com/DTNS to learn more. Until next time, I'm Sarah Lane, and you've been living with it. And that is it for Live With It in 2025. We'll have new episodes starting in January of 2026. Woo, 2026 already. Happy holidays, everybody.